Oh, what's good, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Look, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. Highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Now, what I wanted to discuss was something that the mayor of Cudahy had said, right? Not relevant to what I want to discuss on the simple fact that I reside within the border of Cudahy and Southgate. Sometimes my mail says Cudahy, sometimes my mail says Southgate. So, I live just borderline. So we get when it comes to the voting thing, we get the voting for Cudahy and Southgate. So it's relevant to the area I reside. Plus, I happen to know a lot of these individuals, right, within these areas. Now, the mayor of Cudahy had came out and said some ignorant things. We're going to hear them right here.
Not for nothing, but I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles. 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? Because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Florencia. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you.
So that is what she said, which is
Not for nothing, but
which is ignorant in itself, right? This is a mayor of a city, right, calling for where are the cholos at? Why aren't they protecting their cities from these ICE immigrant raids and the law enforcement and blah 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 blah. So now she's being under investigated by the FBI. Her house was raided. She's getting a lawyer, and because she's been investigating for exceeding violence against law enforcement, being a government official. From the scenery, it looks like maybe she's out and about, right? Maybe she's drinking with her friends, right? But even though, that doesn't excuse what she said, right? Because you being a government official, you got to hold yourself to higher standards. You just can't be coming on social media and saying all this goofy shit, right? I had made a video already discussing about why ain't the cholos out there protesting and yada yada, right? How it's not in their agenda, it's none of their concern, meaning, they're already viewed as outlaws and villains by society in itself, right? So, these individuals are always calling for them to be getting arrested and, locked up and throw away the key, and they're scumbags and they're good for nothing and they're, pieces of shit and yada yada. And rightfully so, why they feel the way they feel, but, always, bad mouthing these individuals. And now, they're asking where they're at. How come they ain't coming and helping and telling them to, pretty much, come out and support. Oh, now you want their support? Oh, now they're good enough. Oh, now they're not pieces of shit. Oh, now it's not throw away and lock away the... No. That's not how it works, lady. It's not how it works. You guys are always trying to combat these individuals and, target them. Rightfully so, right? I'm not here to defend the actions of individuals that do the things that they do, right? But I'm saying, it's hypocritical, right? It's hypocrisy at its finest, actually. You know what I mean? It's baffling to wonder these kind of questions, right? Or expect these individuals to be out there. That's not in their agenda. That's not what they're about. People should already know that this life doesn't come with, positives to it, or these individuals are defenders of anything but their territory and their further agendas that don't align with society's norms and society's values, right? These individuals live lawlessly, so, having them attack individuals that are for the law by people who are in position of law is goofy in itself, right? Like, how do you expect them to be out here, combating and trying to get rid of these individuals, invading their territories? So you want them, to fight against the law enforcement? And what are they going to get out of that except getting busted, and probably, escalating things into, like, maybe terroristic actions or some shit like that, right? You're bringing unwanted heat to the neighborhood, right? If you're going to bring heat to the neighborhood, it better be something neighborhood related or something that's benefiting the neighborhood, not something that's, just because of your political view, because that doesn't line up with the neighborhood's agendas, right? And now you're going to, bring the, the full force of law enforcement just because you felt some type of way about the state of the government. and that in itself is just goofy, right? That this was very inappropriate for her to come and say on social media, right? Like I said, holding the title that she holds, right? And being a mayor, right? But this is not the first time I heard somebody, question, where are these gang members at? Where are these cholos at? And it's like, bro, how much shit have you been smoking? Yes, they do claim territory. Yes, they're all about brown pride and everything like that, but for their own selfish agendas or for their own things that they have going on, not in behalf of individuals that want that are always talking shit about them and how they should be locked up and given life with no parole. You think that they're gonna come to the aid of these people that are calling the cops on them and how can I say, talking shit on them even when these individuals are not doing nothing wrong? You know, even when they're just minding their own, they get bashed on. You know, but like I said, that's just not how it works, and it's dumb of her to even come and say some shit like this. So I can see why she's being investigated, right? I don't feel like she was actually, saying it in a way where she's actually wanting to rally these individuals up or rowdy these individuals up, right? I felt like maybe she was maybe having a few drinks and, she let the political, landscape, get the best of her emotions, right? Because of what's happening, and I'm pretty sure she hears the people's cry, for what's happening, and because the administration that's in power right now is not doing nothing about it and not listening to them, right? So they kind of feel like powerless right here, right? So they're just like brainstorming on like fuck man, like what could be done, or why can't this happen, or what this and that, you know what I mean? Her being Raza and herself, right? So this is probably like her, speaking some inner thoughts out loud, right? But like I said, when you hold certain positions, right, this just comes with the territory. You just can't come on social media and say whatever you want, because it does come with consequences. You're not just like regular folks out here now. That's what comes with the seat of power that you hold, and you yourself should know that. You can't just be coming in, spilling shit like this, right? Because it's gonna get, reactions from people. It's gonna set off alarms, and you can see why. But overall, I feel like this is just, some goofy, behavior. Clearly, she doesn't understand, the weight of her word. But that's overall my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you heard of this? Now, for those who are not aware of where the city of Cudahy is located, right? It's actually located in the south side of Los Angeles, meaning what's the area of Maywood, Bell Gardens, Linwood, Huntington Park, Bell, Cudahy, Southgate, those areas. It's right next to Compton. Like, it's Cudahy, then it's Huntington Park, then it's Compton. So that's where it's at. Or South Central, I mean. Right. So it's within that area. So close to South Central. That's where it's at. But overall, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments and shout out. We out.